right, here we are. This is a fresh spotlight, and today we are going to get strong with Steph. We have Stephanie here today who's going to talk to us about her amazing venture and how it can help you get what you want for your big day. And to help me interview this beautiful young lady is my handsome co-host today and Steph's stunning husband. His name is Dan. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Chuck.
I love it. It's good to have you here today. So we are excited, and part of what we're doing here at Fresh New Angle is to give an opportunity to some of the local entrepreneurs, some of the special sort of motives and things that people want to get out there to our audience. I want to be able to bring to them what's happening in our community and where they could get some good information. And I know that the information you're going to get from Steph today is going to be very valuable to you, especially as you and I try and continue to live our best life and to be the best versions of ourselves and to give ourselves the best opportunity for health and wellness. And so I can't be more excited to be here today with Steph. Hello, Steph.
Hello.
It's good
Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you. It's good to be here with you and Dan. And, you know, we talked about earlier your amazing experience that you've had with Fresh New Angle a few years ago for your amazing wedding. And it was definitely one for the record books. And the thing that I love is tracking your story since then and noticing all of the good you're putting out there. And I really believe it needs to be known by more people. And so Strong with Steph is really an amazing concept. And, you know, I want you to kind of talk a little bit about really why you do what you do. Like, what's the passion? What's the inspiration? What's the motivation? What is the why for Strong with Steph?
So honestly, and again, I might get a little vulnerable here. As you know, my dad was sick. So growing up, I was always watching him in an unhealthy state, going to doctor's appointments, you know, having to take pharma drugs to stay alive. And I think just going through that as a child, fast forward to now, being healthy and holistic healing, working out, I think my dad was kind of the subconscious driving factor in all of that.
Amazing. And thank you for your vulnerability and thank you for sharing that bit of your story. And I know it goes much deeper than that. However, what an amazing inspiration and reason to do what you do. And I appreciate you wanting to take that pain, and really turn it into a positive. And thank you for that. Very awesome. So what's the number one thing people usually come to you wanting help with first?
So it really depends. You know, I help women, men with weight loss. Some women come to me wanting to gain weight, wanting to increase their muscle mass. Some people want to work on, you know, flexibility. So it really just depends. But I see it all, and I'm happy to help whoever comes to me.
You know, how do you initially sort of approach someone when they say, hey, Steph, I need help? Because it's not one size fits all, as you know, and as you just described there. And I love the fact that it sounds like there's a real sort of catered approach to the person. But is there like some sort of questionnaire? Is there some sort of, you know, fact finding that you're able to do when you meet someone? Let's just say I come to you and I say, hey, I really am having a difficult time putting on weight.
Yeah. Asking the right questions, asking what they're doing now, asking, you know, what equipment they have access to. If someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I want to lose weight and pack on some lean muscle mass, I'm going to say, okay, how many days do you want to work out? How many days can you work out? What do you have access to? Do you have any, you know, medical limitations? Are you cleared to work out by a doctor? So that's kind of like the first step. We'll schedule a call, get to know them on like a personal level. I'll get to know their goals. Some people, like I said, it's weight loss. Other people might be something else, right? So it really just depends. And I pride myself. It's not just a like you said, a cookie cutter program. It's not a one size fits all. I like to get to know my clients on a personal level before I just like rip out a program and send it to them.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic as well. And when you have a person that's kind of interested to learn more, how do you make it sort of approachable so that they don't feel like, all right, here's another person that's got their hand out? And because, by the way, to get good information and to get good service, there should always be some sort of like give and take. Just side note with what we're doing here. I mean, obviously you trusted us to do an amazing job with the photo and the entertainment, but there was a cost associated with that, and there's a value in the whole thing. But forget like that part. How can someone come to you and feel like, hey, how do I test drive this to just see if you're the right fit without necessarily feeling like I'm kind of locked into something, if you will? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think to start, there's so many online fitness programs out there, and I think what sets me apart is I like to get in front of the client, right? Let's schedule a Zoom call. Let me get to know you first on an individual level before we just go right into, okay, what do you want to do with the gym? How much weight do you want to lose? Like, I think building that relationship first is a crucial foundation with anything, whether you're in fitness, whether you're in the entertainment business. It's all about building solid relationships.
I love that. And that's where the trust comes in. And so I think that that's fantastic. And I know that anybody who is watching this and thinking, all right, here is a beautiful bride from 3 years ago, and now I'm preparing for my amazing celebration. I'd love to learn more about the things that maybe she believes could be beneficial to the overall success of my wellness, to ultimately lead to the success of how I want to look and feel for my big day and beyond, of course, of course. And so what's the one health mistake that you see in your line of work that people are making sort of over and over again?
Well, not just in my line of work, but I would say diet and our food system. I mean, if you go to ShopRite, you go to Stop and Shop, any of the big box stores, right? Like the things on the shelf, they are loaded with GMOs, fillers, artificial flavors, just soybean oil, seed oils, like super highly inflammatory ingredients. And inflammation, I've learned, is like the root of a lot of issues. So I would say diet, right? Eating whole foods, nothing processed, right? Like he's come a long way.
I'm the model, by the way, for this because I had the worst diet
The worst.
known to man, like a typical dude diet: pizza, burgers, cheesesteak. And she was
Okay,
on
and
me.
those things are okay in moderation here and there.
Yeah, but I mean, literally within a matter of, I mean, she's the reason I started lifting again. But now when I go to the supermarket, like I actually understand the ingredients and I actually turn things around and go, that's not good for you. That's not good for you. And I feel way less inflamed.
My
I'm
little
stronger.
prodigy.
It really is like, it's a big piece of the puzzle.
I love that you said diet. I know recently, well, not necessarily recently, but ever since really, I mean, 8 years now, we got Charlie, and my beautiful wife Rachel. She must have taken a page out of your book because she literally reads all the labels. She's reading the books too that are about battling disease with diet, and I know you can
Gut health.
I know you can speak to that, and it's so true, and how important it is to sort of try to stay out of the middle aisles, right? Nothing against the supermarkets, but stay around the perimeter. But even that you need to kind of be aware of. But how do I, and you brought up a good point, how do I feel like, all right, now what? I can't eat anything. What do I do? And I heard you say something about moderation, which I love. And I think that the only way to really kind of break through to anybody is with the word moderation, right? But to that point, how do you encourage somebody with the cost of groceries and this and that to ultimately kind of coach them up to say, hey, it's okay to kind of look in this area for your nutrients? Like, what do you do there?
Well, believe it or not, what I found just from grocery shopping as a married couple, we save the most money when we buy just produce, meats, whole foods. Like I feel like when we're buying those prepackaged snacks, that's where the money adds up. And I think those things are what kind of a lot of people spiral on. Like once you start eating a lot of sugar and a lot of those processed foods, your brain actually starts to crave those things more. Maltodextrin, you probably see that little ingredient snuck in a lot of things. Like that's an artificial like sweetener, and it makes your brain want more of that. But when you start eating whole foods, after a while, at least for me, like I stopped craving those things.
And you can eat as much of them as you want. That's the thing. It's not restrictive. So like, okay, like if I decide I'm not going to have like, Cheetos all the time, but I can eat as much steak as I want, as much eggs and bacon as I want. Like I'm not feeling like I'm starving.
It's funny because I try to stick to the mentality of no snacks after 8 p.m., right? And ultimately that becomes your fast from like 8 to say, I don't know, 10 or 11 in the morning, right? And when I need a crunchy snack, reaching for the carrots or reaching for the string beans or something to that effect, I feel better about myself. And I'm sure that is probably some advice that you might give to somebody as well when it comes to sort of like how do I combat these craves? What do you tell someone when they're like, I need a snack?
Well, I think there's balance, right? And I think, my guilty pleasure, I love gluten-free Oreos. I can't have any gluten, so I'm also limited and restricted to what I can eat as snacks. But I think, you also can make things. I make these like protein balls when I'm craving something sweet. It's like honey, protein powder, oats, right? And like after a while, I start to crave that. I'm like, ooh, I want some honey or some maple syrup. Like that tastes good to me. Of course, there are weeks where I go and I get a package of gluten-free Oreos and I house them. And that's okay because it's fitting into my macros. I know I can consume, XYZ calories every single day. So if the Oreos are falling within those macros, then I'm still going to hit my goals. And that's a tip that I would say to brides. Like if you are trying to lose weight, let's pretend, your daily calorie intake is 1,400, right? If you're eating Oreos, you just have to calculate them, right? So let that be part of your 1,400 calories. Do I think you should eat them every day? No. But if you eat some Oreos and you're still hitting your macros every day that you're supposed to hit, you're going to crush your goals.
And don't sleep on rice cakes with peanut butter, banana, and some honey on top.
All right, don't sleep on it. I love that.
This man buys like 20 bananas a week. Every day he has like 10 rice cakes, peanut butter, chopped up banana, honey, and he just crushes them. I'm like, he's like, my stomach hurts. I'm like, I think you're eating too much peanut butter.
I love to hear it. And I can't wait to connect. I want to connect you too with my wife, Rachel, because I believe that the two of you could have some really cool conversations. And she's really doing a wonderful job of researching these things and stuff. And I just love it. And you were talking about like macronutrients and things like that. That sounds like a pretty big word. So can you break that down into like a term that I can understand it?
Sure.
Lift your mic up too a little bit if you can for me, handsome.
Yeah, Phil, no
You're good. It's a little fugazi. But yeah, tell me about what macronutrients are and what that's all about.
Sure. So you've heard the term calories, right? From calories, there's protein, there's carbs, and there's fats. Each gram of protein carries 4 calories.
Okay.
Each gram of carb carries 4 calories, and each gram of fat carries 9 calories. So if you're counting your calories or your macros, for me, like I try to consume at least 130 grams of protein a day, right? For optimal muscle growth and hypertrophy. And that's just me personally. It's going to vary for each person based on their goals, but that's what I would say macronutrients are: protein, fats, and carbs.
Gotcha. And so it's wild because people can sit there and say, well, fat is the problem and carbs are the problem, but you're going to probably tell me that no, they're the solution in the right order. Is that kind of sound about right?
Yeah. So like for me, if I'm going to the gym and I'm about to hit legs, I need carbs. Carbs are our fuel, right? So people who say, oh, don't eat carbs, like, no, we need carbs for energy. You need carbs to fuel your body. You need protein to repair the muscle, to build muscle. You need fats for brain health and other bodily functions. So they're all important.
what carbs are the ones that I want to focus on? And what are the ones that I sort of want to try to say, hey, not today, Satan?
Well, I mean, there's different carbs, right? Like there's some that are going to spike your insulin. Like pineapple juice is great. It still spikes your insulin. So it really just depends. Like before a workout, I like to do brown rice, potatoes, because your muscles are they're faster absorbing, right? So the glycogen is going to hit your muscles quicker. If I'm binging at night, I'm going to eat some Oreos, right? It really just depends. But, everything, people say everything in moderation. And like, I wouldn't say I agree with that 100%. But again, if you're fitting those cheat meals into your macros that you're supposed to eat every day, then you're going to still hit your goals.
And it sounds like, if this sounds a little overwhelming, this is the wonderful thing about having a conversation with you to help coach us on how to customize a plan and be accountable, which ultimately we'll touch on as well. And it sounds like it's a lot easier than we really think if we can just learn a little bit. And we don't have to retain all the information. We just got to have the person on retainer that has the information. And that's really a beautiful thing. One of the things that I've been reading recently is not how, but who. There was a book, right? Not how, but who. It's not how am I going to do this? It's who is going to help me. Who is the expert that can help me? And when it comes to this health and wellness, if it's not your thing because you're an amazing police officer, or you're a teacher, or you have a desk job somewhere and that's your specialty and that's what you're really good at and you're very knowledgeable at, well, then I don't have the bandwidth to learn about macros and micros and this and that, but I do have the bandwidth to say hello to Steph and to say, hey, how do we do this together? Does that sound like the kind of person that you're trying to connect with?
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. What would you say is most important to focus on? The workout, the nutrition, or the mindset, or all three, or
all three.
Okay.
All three. I think just getting to the gym or getting wherever your workout space is, whether that's the gym, whether that's your living room, and that's perfectly fine too. That's step one. Consistency, right? Like just get there. Just start somewhere. You don't have to. You're not going to hit your fitness goal tomorrow, but just start somewhere.
And the nutrition is something that literally can start today. So that sounds like a beautiful place that you like to start too with our friends. And talk me through mindset, right? Because all right, I work for a living. I have children, and I'm speaking on behalf of whoever could be listening as well. The demands of my career, my family. I have, to take care of my parents. They're not well. How do I incorporate this into my lifestyle? Hey, I don't really have a whole lot of extra finances, all this kind of stuff in the economy, but how do I guess, help people get into the mindset that yes, you can?
I think people have to be realistic, and setting realistic goals and expectations are important. You don't have to train 5 or 6 days a week for 2 hours, right? Like even if you're just working out 2 to 3 days a week for 45 minutes, like that can be effective, and that's okay.
And she meets people where they're at too. I mean, people that might only be able to train 2 days a week. You can have an effective program in 2 days a week. It's more about building a lifestyle around, like you mentioned, the cost of groceries and stuff. Totally valid point. But as I've learned when I eat unhealthily and have eaten unhealthily in the past, doctor's bills are a heck of a lot more expensive than organic eggs.
Preach. Like for real. And as you said that, my body's like, when you get like the goosebumps or the tingles or whatever, like it's I've seen what cancer can do to my family. You've seen what it can do to your family. And that's not the only disease, by the way. And we're not going to get political here on causes and this and that and the third, but there are ways that we were made, right, to combat these diseases that don't necessarily mean every single drug that's out there. And I'm not trying to get political, but it sounds like to me the cost of all those bills long term, if you really knew what they looked like and really could feel what the devastation is on the family, I think we would understand more when the $500 grocery bill comes in as opposed to $300 if we say cut out all the good stuff. And so, yes, an extra $200 on my grocery bill today sounds ludicrous. However, an extra $2 million in doctors' fees, that's what we're trying to avoid here. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I feel like 200 sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
There's ways to do it for less than that.
Love that. And these are things and tips and tricks that I believe that Strong with Steph can help coach us all on. And with that said, to be honest, I'd love to get some more information as well with how we do things, because I think we're close. I think we do a really good job, but I'd love to kind of like run through my list with you and get your insight too on what you would suggest and say, well, you guys are pretty close, but if we change these 2 or 3 things, you'd probably shave 20% off that bill and still get everything you need, huh? I love that. Yeah. So I love that. So it's the cost of not doing it that's more detrimental. And how about how we want to feel, right? I want to feel good, right? I want to feel good. How important would you say water is to my diet?
It's funny you asked me that because I should drink more water than I do. I'm the first to admit there are some days where I do not drink enough water. But staying hydrated, especially when you're working out, sometimes I like to add some sea salt to my water for electrolytes. I take magnesium every night. Magnesium has helped me, and I say this to future brides, magnesium glycinate has helped me personally with stress, mood, anxiety. It has calmed my central nervous system.
Wonderful. And I totally recommend that if you're just hearing that for the first time, sure, you could run to the CVS or you could run to Google and all this good stuff, and you might get the information you need. But a conversation with you, Steph, before all that sounds like a great approach. And, we're going to follow Steph on her socials, and you can just DM her these questions and things and feel confident that, you can get some good information. We're here to promote health and wellness, right? And you're going to get yours. You're going to be rewarded for the hard work and the effort that you're putting out there for all of us. And I just encourage you to continue to be a resource for people, and I appreciate that. What kind of person benefits the most from working with you?
I'd say anybody. I really try to meet people where they are, and it's not one size fits all.
Right on. And so if I am a male who's trying to bulk up, you're somebody that they can reach out to as well to kind of get that good information, not just the bride to be or the mom or the sister or the daughter or whoever who's looking to maybe bulk up or slim down or whatever the case may be. That's fantastic. And you know why that is because, right, we were created very similar, right? We still need the same macronutrients. I think it might be just a little less depending upon maybe body mass. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Well, it depends on your goals. Are you trying to gain weight?
Makes sense.
If you're trying to gain weight, you need to be in a calorie surplus. If you're trying to lose weight, calorie deficit.
And I love the way that the science behind this. I went to school. I was a phys ed certified person, the whole
Were
thing.
You?
I was.
That's what my cousin does.
I was.
She's a phys ed teacher.
However, I don't remember all those classes. And I remember hearing about the things you're talking about, and I remember getting excited about it and the whole thing and going through the calorie counter and living my best life and really figuring it out a bit because I had that accountability, but I also remember forgetting it fast. And I really appreciate you really having that information right there and being able to also kind of like simplify it for people to say kind of like, all right, so this is the science behind it, but okay, now this is the practical behind it, right? Oh, it's so good. What would you say is one of the misconceptions people have about getting healthy?
I think social media, at least for me too, like this is something that I've struggled with in the past, having unrealistic expectations, right? Like we live in an AI world now, a heavily saturated social media world, and there are a ton of photos out there that are edited, right? So the algorithm is smart. Once you start looking at fitness people, they're going to give you, the algorithm is going to give you more fitness people. And I think it's very easy to fall into the trap of like looking at other girls, or if you're a guy, looking at other guys and being like, why don't I look like that? I want to look like that. And then feeling bad about yourself. And like, that is the worst place to be. And I have fell victim to that too. But that's I would say
Social media.
Yeah. Just be mindful.
What would you say is a quick tip for people who, okay, social media, I understand if you're like my wife, she's able to just disconnect completely. She doesn't have a business. It's not important to her. And so I believe that gives her a lot more peace of mind. So if you can't get away from social media altogether, what are some fail safes or things that we can do today if we are caught in that algorithm? How do we kind of rise above that and sort of protect ourselves?
So I don't know if you know this, but Instagram has a setting where you can set a specific amount of time that you want to spend on it each day. And once you hit that time, it notifies you and it says, you've spent 20 minutes on Instagram today, time to shut down. And I've had to do that, right? Instagram, TikTok, because I'll just find myself and I'll keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And like after a couple of minutes, I'm like, what am I even looking at? I don't even know what I'm looking at. My brain is just like mush. And I think it's important to set those boundaries in anything you do.
Love that. And is there also a way to, is there like a way to like maybe quiet certain notifications that keep coming up? Would that be a way to sort of like take inventory of what you're seeing?
From an algorithm perspective or from a notification perspective?
So if I'm in a scroll mode and I keep seeing things that I'm like, all right, I got to stop seeing this.
Yeah.
Is there a way to sort of like combat that at all?
Kind of. I think there's like 3 dots where you can say not interested or don't show me this again. But it's hard because once you start looking at something, your explore page is going to, like for me, it's cats, travel, and lifting videos, fitness.
Yep.
Sure.
And it takes a while to kind of like retrain that algorithm. So what you're looking at, you're going to be fed.
Gotcha.
And I think that brings up another point, like how you look at things and your mindset is how sometimes like how you feel. So I think just really like working hard on training your mindset, think positive thoughts, right? Like don't be too hard on yourself. Like even if you don't want to go to the gym, there's so many days where I'm like, oh, I don't want to lift right now. Like I'm so tired. Like just get there.
Right.
The rest will happen. Just get there.
Right. I love that. And you know, there's also workout videos and there's ways to kind of do things in your home. And I wonder actually to that point, is there a program that you put together at all that sort of shows like a workout video, or do you recommend anything? Or how if people just have a hard time maybe getting to a specific place, you know, maybe they can do some sort of HIIT workout or something in their home. What do you recommend there?
For me personally, like if you were to sign up with me, I use a coaching app, and on the app there are exercise demonstrations. Like I could film myself talking like, hey Chucky, we're going to do seated back rows today, you know, XYZ, this is how we're going to do it. And then I could input, you know, this is how many reps I want you to do. This is the weight. And then we can work on, you know, progression down the line. But for people who don't work with me, like start on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Like there's a ton of free resources out there that I like to recommend to people.
For sure. Is there a path where somebody could use your services to actually get one-on-one training at a facility?
So yes, I do that now. I have very limited availability because I do have my 9 to 5.
For sure.
The majority of my clients are online, but yeah, I do in person as well.
Absolutely.
And nothing compares to the in person. being there with the client, like being able to see their form and really like talk to them and see their body language, like online is great, don't get me wrong, but in person, like nothing compares to in person.
So with that said, in the dream world, is there a world where you would love to just be doing this full time?
Absolutely.
I'll
she
let
does.
my husband answer that.
Preach.
Yeah, I mean, she's very modest and very humble. She's been doing this for a while, and she really knows her stuff, and would love to be able to transit. And that's by the way, that's the plan. That's what we're working towards.
I love that.
So it's not if but when.
I love that. Well, that is amazing, and it's going to happen. And obviously, we have to remember, especially with the way that we're wired with our faith, to remember to lean in on God and prayer and patience and diligence and these things. And He does want to see us fulfill these heart's desires. We know this, but we also know that it's His timing. And I appreciate the patience and the timing that you guys are putting into it. But it's great to have the team that you have, and I really appreciate the teamwork that you both have, and the willingness, yes, to kind of do that. We're in a situation with me and my beautiful wife where she's able to be a full-time mom, and a full-time stay-at-home mom, but she helps out with the business. She now is kind of one of the persons that is making sure that the whole team is where they need to be when they need to be, and which is beautiful. And she's got her hands and eyes on certain things, which is nice too, because it helps have a sounding board for me. But she talks about getting back into dental assistant and stuff, and do what you want to do, of course. But at the end of the day, it's nice that we can have that freedom and flexibility. And you can also do that by being a little bit more prudent on how we spend our time and energy, the sacrifices and things that are made, all of that. But I love the mindset, and I know it's going to happen. It's already happening. How important is accountability in someone's transformation?
Very important, having, even if it's just a friend, even if you don't hire me or a fitness coach, just having a friend or somebody you could just call or text, hey, I'm not feeling myself today, like just having someone to encourage you and just kind of give you a reason to keep going, someone to vent to. It's important.
Right. And I know that at Strong with Steph, you get that. And especially with your online program and the ability to be connected through the cell phone or the phone call or the Zoom call or the DMs. You're in touch with this, and I guess kind of coming in for a little bit of a landing. If someone felt stuck or, let's say, overwhelmed, what's one piece of advice you'd give that person? They're watching this and they're saying, "Oh, it's good information. It's this, it's that," but like, I'm just overwhelmed. What do you recommend to them? Like, what's their move?
Overwhelmed in like what way?
Just they look at this and they say, I want to be healthy. I want this. I want that. But I'm just overwhelmed. I have so much going on. And they do nothing, right? Analysis by paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
What do you say to someone who's like just watching and saying, all right, this is great. This is good, but this can't be me. Or this is overwhelming. Like, maybe tomorrow.
It's so funny because I feel like that with things in my everyday life. Like what you just said, like maybe tomorrow. Oh, I that can never be me. Like I struggle with that every single day. Like even as a fitness coach, there are days where I'm like, no, I'm not good enough. I have to be better. And I think self-sabotage is something that is very real and needs to be brought to light. And it's something that I think everybody struggles with. And if you are struggling with this, like you're probably not alone. And to answer your question, just take a step forward. Even if you don't sign up at a gym or with a coach, just have a conversation with somebody. I would love to have a conversation with you. Even if you don't use my services, like let's talk.
I would love to have a conversation with you. I feel like that's an easy first step, because if you're watching this, you are a normal person who's sharing vulnerability, who's not coming across as I know everything, which, by the way, I'm going to say it, you know a lot. Okay. And I appreciate,
I don't know
He really
everything.
does.
I
He's
understand
very
your
modest.
humility and I
don't
love
know
it.
everything.
I know you don't know everything. I said you know a lot because we all are learning. But
Thank you.
the bottom line is, how amazing is it to pick up the phone or to DM you and say, "Hey, Steph, I don't know where to go, but hello," and go from there. Like seriously, I encourage anybody to reach out, and even as it comes to your health and wellness, but even when it comes to just planning your celebration, because if you're watching this, there's a decent opportunity that you're either a future bride or you've maybe been one or something of the like. And so that might not be you, and that's okay as well. But reach out because two things are going to happen. First off, you're going to get great information from an amazing person who knows a lot about health and wellness. All right, you're going to actually speak to somebody who has humility, who actually cares, who actually isn't like coming across as a holier than thou or some sort of know-it-all. And I don't know about you, but that's something that I like to avoid when I'm trying to talk to somebody. I want to feel like I'm talking to a person, a human being who has faults and flaws just like me. And if you're not getting that from watching this, I don't know what you're watching, but I see somebody who knows a lot. I see somebody who cares a lot, and I see somebody who is genuine. And not for nothing, if I needed a place to start, that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
I love it. I really appreciate this. I want to give you an opportunity to maybe tell people who are watching this sort of where they can find you and sort of like what could be a next step, but where they can find you. You know, the name of your business, the name of your inspiration, and just kind of, and then maybe finish up with anything else you kind of want to add.
Yeah. So my Instagram is public, Strong with Steph, or my name, Stephanie_Muscatello_Rena. Shoot me DM. I'm always happy to chat.
I love it. That's
Pretty much
fantastic. No, that's the step. That's the first step.
That's the step.
So am I overwhelmed? Do I know my next step? My next step is not necessarily ChatGPT. If you have somebody that's been talking to you, go to that person for sure. This could be just the inspiration you need to actually call up that person that's been trying to talk to you in your life. So go for it. But please, if you're looking for a next step or you're looking for an amazing conversation, I would strongly recommend make that next step be a follow at Strong with Steph and a message.
I actually have one last thing.
Yes.
So my Uncle Ron, he told me something a couple of years back that has always stuck with me. If you fear failing, you've already failed. And anytime I'm ready to like give up or talk myself out of something new because I don't have control over it, or I'm like, no, that's scary. Like, I don't know how that's going to go. Like, let me just go back into my comfort zone. I think of that. If you fear failing, you've already failed.
And what do we always say? Just show up.
Just show up.
That's it. That's the whole opening to this whole spotlight. If you fear failing, you've already failed. Just show up. I love it. Strong with Steph. Thank you so much. This has been another fresh spotlight. I am Chucky Hype, Fresh New Angle Events. Thank you so much to my amazing, handsome co-host Dan, aka the beautiful, strong husband of the most amazing Stephanie. Strong with Steph. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.